Thanks for joining us on MPI TV, sponsored by Discover Puerto Rico. We're exploring diversity and inclusion in all areas of business with Chair of MPI's Diversity and Inclusion Task Force, Antoine Stegall. But first, here's a quick message from our sponsor.
Feel no fear about coming to Puerto Rico. It's a beautiful place and everything is ready.
Puerto Rico!
Fostering diversity and inclusion is top of mind for MPI, and this June at WEC 19, MPI is even offering an inclusive event design certificate program. Here to tell us more is program facilitator Antoine Stegall. So what should organizations be doing to implement diversity and inclusion tactics, and how can these tactics keep them relevant in the industry?
I think that organizations or the industry as a whole could be doing things like building D&I committees, building D&I departments that's focused specifically on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Something that's very separate of human resources, if you will. Diversity and inclusion departments should focus on things internally and externally. Internally being, the people, the talent, culture, and things like that. Externally, looking at marketing and how they're engaging with other organizations and also their customers. Another thing they can do is really start to push trainings for their leaders. Making sure that leaders are getting unconscious bias trainings, and it's not something that just happens like once every 6 months or once a year, but it's a constant effort to make sure that leaders are being not biased with employees and talents and external relations and things of that matter. Many organizations are taking the stand and, really allowing members to use their voice to talk about diversity and inclusion. They're building departments around this. They're building committees around this. So I think that we're at a good starting point. It's only going to get better from here.
According to a recent Meetings Outlook survey, more than 50% of respondents believe the meetings industry will consistently reflect best practices in diversity and inclusion within the next 3 years. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that rings very true. The industry is really doing a great job of starting, and that was the biggest issue. It really wasn't anywhere for people to start, but now people are just jumping in and taking a stand and using their voice and figuring out what ways can we remove barriers for unrepresented group or misrepresented groups to have voices and be heard. Paths to leadership, ways that they can really create welcoming and inclusive environments for people to join and feel welcome when they come. So I really think that's going to ring true as far as best practices stand. That's going to be, I think it's going to have to be a collaborative effort between not just one organization, but all organizations, so that these best practices are standard for the industry and not just for specific organizations.
Antoine, thank you for your time and for all that you're doing to help foster diversity and inclusion in the industry. You can read up on even more diversity and inclusion strategies in the May issue of The Meeting Professional. Thanks for joining us on MPI TV, sponsored by Discover Puerto Rico.
The news from the mainland has been pretty negative about the power grid, but honestly, the city is lit up like any city.
I was really surprised by how amazing it was.
The island is lit and full of life.
Feel no fear about coming to Puerto Rico. It's a beautiful place and everything is ready.
Puerto Rico!